Welcome back, guys, to another sell or keep video. This time we're doing Chelsea. I thought that Manchester United would be the hardest. It went really well. Actually, I'm quite happy with the choices I've made. I watched it back and I thought, you know what? I don't think I made too many mistakes. I think maybe just one player, and that was potentially Matic being a keep instead of a sell. But I really thought I'd struggle with Manchester United. But then I thought Chelsea is even harder because I've watched less of Chelsea than Manchester United. They've had a really odd season. They were at times awful, but then at times absolutely fine. And then towards the end of the season, they've actually done really well to get third. They're now into the Europa League final along with Arsenal. It's, I think, a little bit harder. And there's also a lot of players on loan that could be coming back next season and making a huge impact. So I've got a feeling this might be the toughest one yet. Hopefully you guys are going to agree with most of my decisions. So let's start off with the attackers. Our first player is Callum Hudson-Odoi. Very, very simple choice here. He's been linked with a move away to, I think Bayern is the most talked about club. But I don't know if I feel like it's the right move for him. You look at other deals, maybe like Sancho going to Dortmund, an English winger going into the Bundesliga doing really well. Could Hudson-Odoi realistically do the same type of job? Well, with Robin and Ribéry both leaving Bayern, it leaves a spot open for someone like Hudson-Odoi to come in. But honestly, I think especially if Chelsea will be losing and selling Hazard, who's up next, I think maybe he's got a big opportunity to get into the team more next season. So for me, he's a keep. Is he good enough to fill that void that Hazard leaving would make? No. But Hazard, for me, is a keep, obviously, but I think it's pretty obvious he will be leaving, which is a big shame. I think Hazard is one of the best players in the Premier League, and well, if not the best, and it's a huge loss to English football for him to be going. So I'm a little bit sad by it. I really am, but that's coming from an Arsenal fan. I can only imagine how sad it is for the Chelsea fans, losing arguably their best player in the last 15 years or so. Well, maybe that's a bit much. One of the best attacking players for sure. Yeah, it's a big problem and almost impossible to replace him. But of course, for me, he's a keep. You'd be mad not to. Next, we've got Higuain, who I believe is going anyway. And sorry about the pictures. These were on the Chelsea site. Some of these pictures are terrible, but you get who they are. You can see. So Higuain will be leaving. I don't think they're going to be signing him on. And to be fair, I don't think he's done very well. So just let him go back to AC Milan. I think it was. Is he still going to go back to Juventus? I'm not really sure what's going on there. Up next, we have Giroud. Really tough one because obviously I'm a big fan of Giroud. Used to be at Arsenal. He's fantastic in the Europa League this season for Chelsea. I think he's the top scorer in the tournament behind Jovic. So he's had a very good season in European football, but of course in the Premier League he doesn't get much action. But I think if you're selling Giroud, you've already got a massive problem at Chelsea with strikers, which I'll talk more about in a moment. So I'm actually going to say, for now, I would keep Giroud. He's a great option on the bench, which sounds awful, but you need those types of players to be on the bench to back up the squad if there's injuries, suspensions, whatever it may be, and he's a proven finisher. He's a brilliant player. World Cup winner, of course, in the summer. And he's scored a lot of goals in his career. He's a good player to have on your books. Now, Pedro, this is a difficult one. Pedro, I'm a fan. I'm definitely a fan of Pedro. I don't think he's as good as he obviously used to be. But he does score a lot of goals when he maybe hasn't been playing very often. He still manages to come in and have a good game. He's still a consistent player. Arguably, I'd say he's quite important to the squad. Again, similar to Giroud as a squad player. And I think selling Pedro would be a bit of a mistake. Not so easy to replace a player of his quality for less than 30 mil, I would say. So I think Pedro is going to be a keep for me. I like him. I think Chelsea need players like him. Willian, oh dear. I know a lot of Chelsea fans find him very frustrating. He's been linked with moves away to Barcelona over the years, which I think would have been a terrible signing for Barcelona, especially when you consider the money they spent on Coutinho. He hasn't turned out to be quite as good, and obviously Coutinho is a better player than Willian, I think. But Willian, if you look through the stats of his Chelsea career, he's been a solid signing for them. He's had really good seasons. He's had some average seasons. He's a keep. I wouldn't sell him. And I've got to remind you guys that, you know, if you're watching this video and you haven't seen some of my other ones, these decisions I make are always based on now, current form, current season performance. And a lot of these players maybe I would sell in a year's time, in 2 years' time. Players that aren't necessarily here for a long time, but you'd be mad to sell right now. In the situation that Chelsea are in, they do need a lot of work in the transfer window. There are still players that I'd keep for now and maybe shift on in a year. And I think Willian might be one of those players. I don't think he'll be there for long anymore. I think maybe one more season actually might be enough. Danny Drinkwater, has he played this season? I'm pretty sure he hasn't got a single minute in the Premier League, or maybe just 30 minutes or something like that. He's been drink driving. That is just brilliant, by the way. Drink driving and drink water. It's not good that he's done it, but he's earning 100k a week and not doing anything. He is 100% sell, but good luck selling him, because what club in their right mind would sign Danny Drinkwater for 100k a week? You're probably looking at 10 mil, 15 mil anyway for Chelsea to sell him. I don't know, man. Yes, he won the not the championship. He won the Premier League with Leicester back when he was partnered with Kante. Bit of a fluke season, maybe. I don't think Drinkwater's really that great. Jorginho is a keep. You've just invested a lot of money in him, and I think he is a very good player, a very good passer. A bit of a wobbly first season. He's definitely got better as time has progressed. Kovacic is on loan from Real Madrid, and I don't think he's done enough. I don't think he'd be worth signing up permanently. I don't know if they've got a buy option at the end, but I don't think so. I think Real Madrid wanted him back. And to be fair, I don't think he's returning to Real Madrid any better than when he left to join Chelsea on loan. I don't think he's necessarily had a great season. I think he's been average at best. Now, I think most Chelsea fans would agree. Not really the type of signing they'd be looking to bring in this summer, but maybe they will. Van Ginkel, I can't believe he is still technically a Chelsea player. He is a sell. He's not Chelsea quality, and we've known it for a long time. He's been out on loan, countless times, and he seems like a good player, but is he top 4 Premier League quality? No, he's not. Next, we've got Kante, which probably is the easiest decision of the video. Kante is, for me, the best defensive / box-to-box midfielder in the Premier League, maybe even in the world. He's a World Cup winner. He's a professional. He's a class act. He's quiet, but gets his job done. I love the guy. His work rate is insane. I think he single-handedly won the league for Leicester City. I really do. Without him, they wouldn't have done it. Without any other player, let's say they didn't have Mahrez or they didn't have Vardy, I think they still could have done it. It would have been very, very difficult and still unlikely, but him in midfield, it was like having an extra player, and I think he has brought that to Chelsea. Of course, they won the league as soon as he joined, but I don't think he's being played in the right position at the moment. I feel like he's getting forward more than he should be in this setup at Chelsea. I would like to see him playing in the middle where Jorginho plays, but hey, what do I know? I see a player that's been so successful, if not the best in the world in a certain position, and then they sign Jorginho for 60 odd million, whatever it was, and then say, sorry, Kante, you're going to be shifted out a little bit. Absolute madness. Barkley, I actually really like Barkley. He's a threat from midfield. He gets quite a lot of goals, and he's English as well. As I'm sure a lot of you are aware, English clubs have to have a certain amount of English players, homegrown players in their squad. So English players are worth that little bit more in the Premier League because Premier League clubs need them. It'd be silly to let Ross Barkley go after spending not too much money. What was it, 18 million or 20 million or something like that from Everton? I think it'd be silly to let him go because he's not good enough. But realistically, I think he can still improve. He's still relatively young and he is a good player and he's English. And Chelsea, they've got a good history of having a lot of good English players in their team, so he can keep that alive. But the next player is, for me, the real deal. I'm so jealous of this guy. I would absolutely love him at Arsenal. I'm a huge fan of Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and the craziest thing has happened this week. I think Chelsea had a friendly organised in between the end of the season, without knowing they'd get to the Europa League final, of course. He's played in this friendly, and he's got injured, and he's out of the final. I'm sorry. Who sorted this friendly out and didn't think we should put some sort of clause in this friendly contract? Because it was for charity, right? So I get it. It must go ahead. But they should have put it in the small print. Unless Chelsea get into a final, whatever, then they can't play. Because why would you risk your players in a friendly before a Europa League final, and especially play some of your best players? It was absolutely suicidal by Chelsea. One of the most ridiculous things I've seen in a while, and he's going to miss out now. It's great for Arsenal, but as I was saying, Ruben Loftus-Cheek for me is the future of English midfield. I think he's a powerhouse. He's tall, he's strong, he's quick, he's got a great passing ability, but most importantly, he scores. He's like Lampard to Chelsea. He's not quite that level yet, but maybe he could be. Really, really like him. Now into defence, we have Rudiger. He is definitely a keep. I was a little bit unsure the first few seasons, or the first 2 seasons when he joined Chelsea, but this year I think he's been definitely more consistent. Seems to be doing well next to David Luiz, who just got a new contract. So I would definitely keep him. Christensen, what do we think about Christensen? He's a guy that's been around for so long, yet he's still young and still full of potential. Where is he right now in his career? Is he fulfilling that potential? Is he on the right track? I think arguably, personally, I don't think Chelsea's right for him. When he plays for Chelsea, he does very well, I think, most games from what I've seen, but doesn't get a run of games. He hasn't been able to break into that first team. So if I was him, I'd be looking to be getting out of the club. But as a Chelsea supporter, I'm guessing you guys would definitely want him to stay. As Piliqueta, I mean, for me, so consistent and one of the best players at Chelsea over the last few years. He's captain right at the moment, so you can't sell your captain if he's still performing really well. And I like him. As Piliqueta is not an easy player to replace, and I think whether he's at centre-back or right-back, I think he's very, very good. Same with David Luiz. They've just signed him on a new contract, so there's no way he's leaving. But since he came back from PSG, I think he's been a very solid signing for Chelsea. He's a Chelsea boy, isn't he? And I'm sure he'll see out the rest of this contract and maybe even retire at Chelsea. Next, we have Zappacosta. I don't think he's Chelsea level. I don't think he has been since he joined. He's had a couple of pretty okay appearances, but no doubt in my mind that he is a player that I would look to sell. So, yeah, I'd probably let him go. We then have Emerson. I like him. I think from what I've seen, he looks promising. He's still relatively young as well. Good backup to Alonso, who, let's be honest, hasn't been too great. Cahill apparently is already on his way. He hasn't officially left yet, so I'll just put him into sell. But he hasn't been quite the same level. But what a bargain, man. He's proved to be one of the most shrewd signings in Chelsea's history. I think it was 8 million or something from Bolton. Am I right? And he's won pretty much everything you can win. And he's been a leader. He's been a very, very good player for Chelsea. Now, Marcos Alonso, I actually feel like if Chelsea are spending big this summer, you would hope they're going to go in for a left back. I think they probably need one. But they also need a lot of other positions. So this, I think, it's down to your preference as the Chelsea board, I guess. But I probably would keep Alonso if you're not going to be bringing in a proper left back. If you are bringing in a left back, I would sell him. But I do think he is one of Chelsea's best defenders, not maybe this year, but previous years. He was doing very well with Conte at the club. So I like him, but I get why Chelsea don't like him. He can be defensively woeful, but going forward, he's great for your fantasy football. So as you can see, I have completely ran out of space here. So I will just move. Oh, that's going to be a pain in the butt, isn't it? I'm going to drag them down a bit here. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit any more in. It's going to be close. This. I'm just going to try and organise it a little bit for you guys so I can fit more in. Because actually, now I really think about it, Chelsea have a very good core in their team, in their club. They just need a few changes here and there and a few new faces coming in, and I think that they'll be doing absolutely fine. Ampadu, centre-back, Welsh. I really like him from what I've seen. I've seen him play a couple of cup games. I know he's highly regarded. Would definitely loan him out, but he is one for the future, so I would be keeping him for sure. And then we've got goalkeepers. Kepa really frustrated me when he had that day off, let's just say, as a player and turned into the Chelsea manager. But obviously you keep your biggest assets. He is the most expensive goalkeeper in the world. I mean, that just, he has been good though. He's got a lot of clean sheets. I don't think he's been as good as he maybe was expected to be, but has done very well. Caballero, I mean, as a backup, you can't really go wrong, can you? And yeah, Rob Green, I'm pretty sure he was only there because of the English numbers. I don't think he's actually there to be a player. He never plays, so he would be a sell. Now, on to loaned players, and I've completely run out of space again. Luckily enough, Morata does not go in the keep category. For me, he is a sell. Yes, they've invested money into him, but he's been out on loan for a reason. He's not good enough. At least in England, he hasn't been good enough. He's had a few games where maybe he lived up to the hype a little bit, but since going back to Spain for Atletico Madrid, he's looked much, much better. So cut your losses, Chelsea. Just let him go. Victor Moses, tough one because he was brilliant in that title-winning season with Conte. He was playing out of position at right back, but did very, very well. But clearly, Sarri doesn't like him. Sarri doesn't like him, however you say his name. I think he's going to be sold. And to be fair, I think Chelsea can do better now. I would sell him as well. Now, Abraham, oh my God, what a player. Currently on loan at Aston Villa. He's got them into the playoff final. I think Tammy Abraham is the future Chelsea striker. And it would really, really surprise me if he is going back out on loan. Because for me, 100%, he's a keep. He absolutely is a keep. I'm going to move these guys up to the top so you guys can actually see their faces. Give me 1 second. Let's drag these layers to the top. We'll do... Oh, don't want to do that. There we go. So you can still see him. Up next, we've got Batshuayi. I haven't even thought about Batshuayi. Is he as good as Tammy Abraham? Is he better than the strikers you've already got at the club? I think, yeah, I think why not? Maybe you do try and keep him. Keep hold of Batshuayi if you can. I guess you could sell him, but with Tammy Abraham, Giroud, Batshuayi, I think you've got 3 very good and very different options. For me, though, it's all about Abraham. Pulisic coming in, of course. He's on loan at the moment at Dortmund. They've just missed out on the Bundesliga by, 2 points? I think Bayern just won it today, this afternoon. But Pulisic is definitely going to strengthen the team. With Hazard gone, potentially, of course, we don't actually know if it's going to happen or not, but I think it's very likely that Hazard is going to be gone. Pulisic, I think, is the player that could step into those shoes in the future, but not now. And not shoes, boots, I should say. Step into his boots. I think Pulisic is a very good player, but he's still so young and still quite a raw talent. Then we've got Charlie Musonda, Belgian player, very tricky, good winger, out on loan. I mean, what do you do about all these loaned players? They've got so many, and a lot that I couldn't even get into this video because they didn't have pictures, for example. But Musonda, I don't know enough about him, guys, if I'm honest. I think the 1 or 2 games that I've seen him in, he didn't do anything. But a youngster with his promise, his potential, then maybe you do just keep him for now. Maybe another season. And then you've got Bakayoko. Now, this is a really hard one because he was absolutely awful at Chelsea in his first season. He's been loaned out to AC Milan, and I think he's done better there, but he's now just had a big bust up with Gattuso, and I don't think he's going to be at AC Milan next season. I think he will be returning to Chelsea, but I tell you what, when he was playing well for AC Milan, I was questioning why they loaned him out and why they didn't just give him another go, because we saw it at Monaco. He has the potential to be a very, very good midfielder, so I'd give him another go, another year maybe. We've got more players to put in the keep here. We've got Reece James, I think his name is, was in player He's in the team of the season for the championship. He had a very, very good season. Playing at right back, he can play at centre mid. He's a very versatile player, 100% one for the future. So he will go into the keep. Kurt Zuma, oh my God, Chelsea have so many good players coming back from loans. Kurt Zuma is 100% going to come back to Chelsea and improve their team. He's been very, very good for Everton, and it would be silly to loan him out again. And don't forget, I forgot to mention this at the start of the video, Chelsea have a transfer ban. They can't sign any players, which is why it's going to be an even bigger summer for them with loan deals coming back. This is huge for them. The fact that they've got someone like Zuma, because I think they need a defender, he has to come back and help out. He cannot, and surely will not, be loaned back out again. With Reece James coming in, with Abraham, Pulisic, I think, honestly, if you said to me that they were going to sign Tammy Abraham from Aston Villa, Pulisic from Dortmund, if they were going to sign Reece James from Wigan, Musonda back, Zuma from Everton, you'd be saying, wow, what a transfer window. But the fact is, they already own these players. And that is an absolute lifesaver, because a certain Hazard will be going, I think. I think it's very likely he's going to be going to Madrid, whatever. That's a huge, huge amount of money coming in that they cannot spend. If they cannot spend any money in this window, which I still don't know if it's going to be upheld. They're trying to fight it, but who knows what's going to happen. But without being able to spend money, it's absolutely huge that they've got these kind of players returning from loans, because otherwise they'd be in big, big trouble. So there we go. I actually don't think Chelsea are in that bad of a situation. But if they didn't have all these players out on loan, I'd be very, very worried with Hazard leaving. What would they do? What would they do? I don't think they're going to hit the top 4 next season. I really don't. I think if let's say they win the Europa League final, which I really hope they don't, because of course they're playing Arsenal. But if they win that and get into the Champions League next season, without Hazard, with all of the Premier League games, the FA Cup, the League Cup, the Champions League, I just don't think their squad will be able to handle it if they cannot bring any players in. They're very, very lucky they've got some good players out on loan that are coming back. So thank you for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, please do leave a like rating. Make sure you subscribe. Leave down your comments down below which team you'd like me to do next. I was thinking of doing Liverpool, but then I thought there's no point because I'd pretty much keep everyone. There's like 1 or 2 players I wouldn't keep. Maybe I could do outside of the Premier League. I don't know, but I've done Arsenal, Man United and Chelsea. Maybe I could do someone else. Just let me know down below. You can ask me on Twitter as well. That's in the description. So I will see you next time.